This is a city commission meeting. Could we have the roll call, please?
Smith.
Here.
Clute.
Here.
Bragg.
Here.
Harvey.
Here.
Mayor Robish.
Present. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on to the agenda approval, I have one addition under 10.6 departmental items. We're going to have an update from our Utilities Commissioner, Rhonda Clute, tonight. Anything else that I missed on the agenda, for the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda with the addition.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to number 3, the City Commission adjourns to convene as a Board of Adjustments for the following public hearing. Consider a conditional use permit requested filed by Delvin and Joanne McHugh, project address 1123 Ohio Southwest, to operate an Airbnb vacation rental home where code requires a conditional use permit for this use and copy of the vacation rental home license from the state and must be provided in the area zoned R2. I'm going to turn this over to our city planner, Barry Cranston.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, this is just an application for to operate an Airbnb, as it says. We had no opposition to this at all, and so we visited with Mr. McHugh about requirements for this, and he's since provided us copies, and the only condition we had was that there be at least one off-street parking stall provided, and he can do that without any issues at his residence. So it is a situation where they will become essentially a host family as they live in the same facility as the downstairs would be the Airbnb and the upstairs would be their home. There is separate entrances, and so they are able to secure their residence from the Airbnb facility below.
Okay.
So with that, we recommend approval.
Okay.
I'd move to approve.
Second.
I see the applicants are in the crowd tonight. Any questions for them this evening? Any comments they would like to add, or, okay, it's all good. There is plenty of parking. They have alley access parking, they have off-street parking, and so they've taken care of that very well, so. Yes.
Question, if not so specific to the McHugh's request, but since we require a home occupancy permit for that, and the state requires a license for it, across the state, then who monitors that? Is that up to the state, or is that?
Yeah, I don't believe there is an initial inspection. I don't know if that's an annual from the state or not. It's just a one-time inspection, I believe. Yeah, and then obviously if we get complaints or something, then the conditional use permit could be revisited and further conditions could be added. But generally speaking, we haven't had any issues with it. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and so if I can ask, when you guys applied for that license, did that cover all Airbnb licensing being across the state?
They're rated differently.
Are they?
So
Okay.
ours is, since it's in-home occupancy, it's different than if it was like somebody had a house and rented the house, is what he told us. And ours is a lot more lenient to it, because we're there, everything is like a
Sure.
lived-in dwelling.
Yeah.
So the restrictions are a lot lighter on it.
Yeah.
We still have to have fire extinguishers, smoke alarms, there's certain things that have to be on it. The state application has that all listed, and everything was on it. There should be a copy of that somewhere.
Yes, we have a copy.
So we've already went through the state and we're approved. We're waiting for our licensing to come in.
Yeah. I'm just curious more than anything how that I'm sure
As
there's
they
different
just-
levels that
They
you,
just lifted the restrictions on the type of Airbnb that we have,
Mm.
because we're there every day and living there. So it's different. Like, we could put up exit signs, but we don't need it. We could, with certain things. Does
okay,
that make sense?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, different than a remote location.
Right. Where,
The hills, if you will.
yeah, or just, for instance, if the neighbor's house, instead of being a rental house, if they want to do the Airbnb and nobody lives there, there's different restrictions to it.
Okay.
So, I don't know exactly all of them, but he was just telling me that the state just made it a lot simpler for people like us.
Yeah,
Situation.
good, good for you guys.
Any other questions?
I just have a comment. While I was so saddened to see your daycare close, because we hate to see another daycare close, I know there is a huge demand for Airbnbs, so I'm glad you're making a use of your facility to help the need in our community.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Roberts.
Aye. Thank you for coming in. The Board of Adjustments reconvenes as the City Commission. Number 5, public forum. Public forum is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. Please state your name and address for the record. Is there anyone here to speak for public forum? If not, I know Commissioner Clute has something for us tonight.
I do. The Huron Association has asked me to invite the community to the Huron New Year, January 3rd, at the Nordby Exhibit Hall at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you've never been to that, it is,
Yes.
it's kind of fun to go to.
It's incredible.
So, yeah.
Great food. Yep.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the commission at one time without discussion unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given item. Items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal items, and our consent agenda tonight consists of 6.1, minutes of December 15th, 2025. 6.2, personnel items. Number 1, acknowledge that police officer Samantha Torgerson has completed her 1,040-hour probationary period, making her eligible for supplemental benefits. And number 2, acknowledge that police officer Darley Diaz Gonzalez has completed her 1,040-hour probationary period, making her eligible for supplemental benefits. And number 3, accept the promotion classification change of Bradley Bruns from the Solid Waste Maintenance 1 to Solid Waste Maintenance 2 with a 60-day calendar probationary period in accordance with the ASCME Bargaining Agreement Article 10.4. 6.3, consider request from the Huron Chamber and Visitors Bureau to add Casey Davies as a member of the Business Improvement District Board. And 6.4, consider raffle permit submitted by James Valley Shrine Club for events held at the Decks and the Nordby Exhibit Hall from December 20th, 2025 through January 31st, 2026. 6.5, consider alcoholic beverage license applications submitted by James Valley Shrine Club for the Cavour Fire Department fundraiser on January 9th at the Campus Center and James Valley Shrine Club Indoor Ice Fishing Tournament on January 31st at the Nordby Exhibit Hall. 6.6, set public hearing for transfer of alcoholic beverage license from Top Floor Events and Huron Event Center to One Oak Events for January 6, 2026. And 6.7, payment of the bills.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Roberts.
Aye. We're going to move on to bid quote items. We have several tonight. We have with us our engineers, Brett Runge. I'm going to let you just take the lead on these, and we'll do one at a time.
All right, thank you, Mayor. There are quite a few of them. We're finishing up a lot of things for the end of the year, which is good. 7.1 is consider approval of quote for 2027 Freightliner M2 106 Plus truck from I-State Truck Center for the 2026-07 dump truck for the water department in the amount of $154,903. This is through a Sourcewell contract which meets South Dakota bid law and meets the specification requirements. So this is an item that's budgeted for 2026, but as with some of these items, we need to get them under contract before the end of the year or else pricing goes up. And so this is one of those items, nothing will be paid out until the next year on this. And then there's a lead time on this too, which is the other reason why they're trying to move on this item. So as it said, it's actually, the quote that we have is actually for a 2027 truck in the end. And then they'll put a 16-foot dump body on that chassis. What was budgeted was $150,000, so this is slightly over budget, so that remainder will have to come out of the water reserves. But we recommend approval of this quote.
Motion to approve. I'll second.
Any questions, comments? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to 7.2.
7.2 is consider change order number 1 final in the amount of $4,208.32 and pay request number 3 final in the amount of $31,974.24 from Vanderpool Dragline Inc. for bid number 2025-04 Jersey Avenue drainage improvements and authorize the mayor to sign. This is the Jersey Ave improvements that we had down by the 3rd Street Dam there. I know this one was a little painful for us, but we finally got the project done. They had to come back. We were waiting for a railroad permit approval to get in and finish up a chunk of concrete. In the end, there was some additional cost for that, doing that as winter concrete. They had to use some ground thaw and blankets, and there's just an additional cost to pour that, but we needed to get it done. So that cost an extra $7,300, but then when we balance the quantities, there's about $3,100 of unused quantities off the project, so the net increase to the project is at $4,200, and that brings that new total project cost to $231,636.12, which is still under the budget. So we recommend approval of that change order and then payout of the final pay request as it mentions to close out the project.
Move to approve 7.2.
Second.
Any questions, any further questions? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. And 7.3.
Consider change order number 4 final for a decrease of $120,000 and pay request number 16 final in the amount of $53,880.01 from Century LLC and Global Settlement, and then also considers Global Settlement Agreement and Release. And this is for bid number 2023-21 Huron Transfer Station. As you see from the number, this is a 2023 project. We are finally at the point to be able to close this out. This is the final change order on this. It was for a deduct of that $120,000. That is due to the delay in completion on this project. The city ended up with some additional costs due to that delay, which would be additional consulting fees and other items that we had to do. We have discussed this previously with the commission. And then, in the end, what was left on the contract for payout, so that's the change order to finalize, and then on the end, what was left on the contract to payout is $53,880 for the final pay request. And then in addition to that, our attorney has prepared a settlement agreement and release that he may comment on if he wants here, but basically it protects the city from the contractor coming back later for damages. So we recommend approval of all of these.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to 7.4 for BX Civil.
All right, thank you, Mayor. This is just a change order. Consider change order number 6 in the amount of $22,165.55 from BX Civil and Construction for bid number 2024-01 Dakota Avenue Improvements, and authorize the mayor to sign. This is, we're working on closing this project out. Obviously, there's some work to be done yet in spring here that they'll have to come back and complete on the downtown streetscape. But this change order consists of utility additions that we had on the project. We ran into a lot of unknowns in the field, such as different utility crossings, and then there was some conflicts with private sewers and water lines that there was just some added cost through that. We had limited records in the downtown area and through this segment, right? So it's not surprising that there were some changes that we ran across. And in the end, that change order of $22,165.55 covers some of those additional costs. What I will say and note is that in January, likely, we'll be coming back with a deduct change order on this project, basically closing out, balancing the quantities that are unused. Because some of these are for fittings that we didn't have specifically in the bid. So we had to do a change order on it. And then we had some fittings in the bid that didn't get used, right? So it's gonna be a little confusing back and forth. But the deduct will be to the tune of about $180,000 deduct in the end. So in the end, we're actually gonna be less than the bid price on this in the end when we're done, which is, we were over budget slightly, but it'll bring us back closer to budget on this project. So we recommend approval of this change order for these utility items.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Any further clarification? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Roberts.
Aye. And moving on to 7.5.
Consider construction administration amendment from Burns and McDonnell Engineering Company for an additional cost of $82,007.44 for bid number 2023-21 Solid Waste Transfer Station Facility, and authorize the mayor to sign. This is basically an amendment to the construction admin agreement that we had with Burns and McDonnell on that transfer station project. This is this is one of those added costs that we had on the project for going past completion date. So these additional costs, they're covered through that deduct change order that we just approved for the project. We recommend approval of this amendment.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Roberts.
Aye. Thank you, Brett, for bringing them. Moving on to petitions and communications, 8.1, consider substitute sidewalk installation agreement between the City of Huron and Raymond A. Polfus for property in Lampy Court, and authorize the mayor to sign. I'm going to let Barry Cranston, our city planner, explain this.
Yes. Thanks, Mayor. This originally, Lambie Court, going back here a while, was developed by the 1980 LLC, which was owned and operated by a member of the community here. And he has since passed away, and his family has now taken ownership of the properties. And as part of that, when we started handling new developments a little differently, we started requiring performance bonds to include things like sidewalks in these developments. And rather than try to get the developer to do it one lot at a time. And so this document, this agreement, essentially Ray Polfus has purchased the two lots that remain in Lampy Court, and his intention is to build a house and to sell it over there. And this document would allow him to accept the responsibility, essentially, of transfer the responsibility to him to install those sidewalks. That's really all that's left out there, is just a requirement for the sidewalks. And so I believe it's about I think it's about a $10,000 or $15,000 balance on this performance bond is all. But this document pretty much assigns that requirement over to Ray Pulfus then, and then that way in the future, he would be, under this agreement, he would be required to put that in at some time in the future when he builds the house.
Yep.
Does that, Aaron, does that kind of explain what's in the document?
Yeah, I think it covers it pretty well, and you know, the kind of the big picture here is obviously that LLC, there's an interest in, you know, wrapping up its business affairs as part of kind of the probate process and moving forward through that family. So we have you know, the purchaser here is able to step into the shoes and make sure that those sidewalks get done. So that's what's before you now.
Okay. Good.
Approve. Second.
Any questions, Commissioner Brad?
So he's accepting the responsibility. Does he then also take ownership or the responsibility on the bond itself, or are we?
No, we will
Bond.
release the bond because it's in their name. It's in the LLC's name.
So
at
this is
point.
a much smaller dollar amount,
Yeah.
but I mean, part of why we wanted to do it via bond versus just a guarantee
Mhm.
would be, so in theory now, if he failed to perform, we don't have the bond as assurance.
Right, but we do have an agreement that we could essentially work from then. Hopefully it wouldn't come to that, you know, but in talking with Ray, he's fully aware of what we're attempting to do, and he's in agreement that it's not a problem at this time, so. The bond originally, just for the record, was in excess of $500,000. And so as they've gone through and sold all these off, we've slowly ramped that down so that it stays in a manageable fashion for the developer as he moves properties off. So,
And this one would also be covered in the sense that he would not be able to get his building permit signed off
Correct.
on without it too, so we do have that
So,
assurance as
yeah.
well, but.
yeah.
Okay, I was assuming that the bond went away, but I wanted to clarify
Sure.
how that piece of it.
Thank you, yep.
Anything else? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Barbie.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Thank you, Barry. Aaron, for that. Moving on to departmental items, consider the approval of the 2026 Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 3A Collective Bargaining Agreement and authorize the mayor and the commissioners to sign. We had our FOP, we have two unions in the city. We have an FOP and we have an ASCME union, and we negotiated their contracts this year. And Shauna, you can back me up if I'm not saying this correctly, but we did come to agreements, and it was, before we move on, there are two different items, but I do want to thank the two union bargaining units for their willingness and they were very easy negotiations, I guess I'll say it that way. So.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Yes, FOP is an annual contract, so that was not as an extensive review as the ASPE contract. So this year for negotiations, we agreed upon language in Article 19 about calculating wages for promotions and transfers. It is consistent with our practice that we already do, just getting that language in there. Article 25, we agreed to increase the maximum substitute holiday accruals from 40 hours to 48, which is also consistent with comp time. Because the police don't get those holidays off, then they accrue substitute holiday hours. Also agreed upon a 3% COLA in the step increases for 2026. There's a little bit of cleanup language in there, updated FMLA, updated some definitions, removed detective captain, we don't have that position anymore. So we added deputy chief in a few different areas. And then the on-call language was located in a couple different areas throughout the contract, so it just combined that into one section, so it's easier to find it. But, again, not changing anything there, just kind of rearranging the wording. I too want to thank everybody who was involved with negotiations. It went very well. It was nice to see that good working relationship. So I would ask approval of the contract as presented and authorize the mayor and commissioners to sign.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, any questions? I'm sure you read through this contract letter by letter, so if you have no questions, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Roberts.
Aye. And 10.2 for the ASME union, same thing?
Yep, thank you, Mayor. AFSCME contract was, the prior contract was for 3 years. This one is for a 2-year time period. We did have some cleanup to do here. Definitions and recognition, clarified that with what positions are not eligible to join the union. It was about a 50-50 shot of listing the ones that are versus aren't. They kind of somewhat listed who wasn't, so I just went with that. Article 7, leaves of absence. We clarified accruals that allows eligible new employees to use their accrued leave during the probationary period. Added language for holiday pay for 10-hour shifts. Updated the military leave for reserve duty to comply with current USERRA regulations. Revised funeral leave definitions and discretionary leave provisions to align with FMLA and ADA requirements. Updated the sick leave bank provisions so employees may use bank hours to supplement short-term disability or third-party income when the total taxable income is less than their wages. We also established some more guidelines as far as the time period that employees may use from the sick leave bank. They may use up to 1,040 hours in a rolling 3-year time period. That was a clarification. We did add, with the help of the attorney, some language in there to help if we feel that someone is abusing the sick leave bank. The bank is intended to provide income protection during a bona fide illness or injury for employees who intend to return to work, and then provisions if we feel that it is being misused, how we can proceed with that. It states that suspected fraud or abuse of the bank, either during employment or at separation, may result in appropriate action under city policy. Article 11, discipline, we clarified that references to timeframes in the disciplinary section are measured in calendar days. Compensation, they also agreed upon the 3% COLA and the step increase for 2026. We just had a lot of general cleanup language. Lots changed in the last 3 years. We just cleaned up formatting, terminology that we use. Nothing really impacted, nothing impacted beyond the negotiations though. So I too would like to thank everybody involved. We had a new representative with AFSCME. Grace Gill was the former one, now it's Darby Boyd. So this was our first time negotiating with Darby. Everything went well. She's from the Fort Pierre area.
Yay.
So on behalf of the negotiating team, I would recommend approval of the 2-year contract with AFSCME as presented, and authorize the mayor and commissioners to sign.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions for the ASME contract? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Roberts.
Aye. Thank you, Sean, for working through both of those. And then we'll move on to 10.3, consider the approval of the contract with UKG, ready for the Human Resource Information System modules, and authorize the Human Resource Manager to sign. This is gonna be over my head, so go for it.
Thank you, Mayor. In conjunction with IT and finance, I was looking at a human resource solution that would better fit our needs and align with what we are wanting to accomplish in the HR office. Everything was quite expensive, came in over budget. I was able to negotiate further with UKG, and they have agreed to phase the project out over a 3-year time period so that we can stay within budget. So the first year would be from recruiting, ACA manager, benefits, time clock, leave, learning insights and accruals. There is a $10,000 implementation fee, so with that fee, it comes to just under $56,000, which it was budgeted at 56 is what I had approved for
Yeah.
2026.
Correct.
And then we'll phase in years 2 and 3. We were able to convince them not to charge us another $10,000 implementation fee. They asked if we could have that at $42.92. So that would bring the 2027 total up to $55,332, and then 2028 would be just over $51,000. I did have the attorney review the contract. He had some concerns. We were able to get those worked out with UKG and get that contract updated with the language that our attorney suggested. Omnia Master Agreement, that is similar to Sourcewell. It's a purchasing hub for the public sector. And they do have a contract available under Omnia to help save some money there too. So with that, I would ask for approval to electronically sign the contract through the Omnia Master Agreement.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, any questions for Shauna? Commissioner
Yeah,
Brad?
could we just do a little clarification on this, because this came through capital assets and we had some discussion on it there. So at that time, it was gonna be over the budgeted amount, and that's because we changed software, right? When we approved this initially, it was a totally different company, right?
Right,
So,
yeah.
so can you just walk through specifically what all changes you made that, in order to get it into the budgeted amount?
So we cut out 4 modules that will, from the first year, is what we did. We took a look at what modules were all inclusive with that over budgeted dollar amount. And some of those, this is gonna take at least 9 months to implement. So we're not gonna be learning all those modules, is what we decided when I was talking to the rep from UKG. Some of them we can get started with, but then there are also enhanced features like performance appraisals, enhanced functionality that won't happen until years 2 or 3. So by waiting and putting some of those modules on hold, we were able to get that price down. My concern was that I didn't want to pay that extra $10,000 implementation fee on years 2 and 3. We were able to get that down to just over $4,200. I also got approved through them where we can pay them quarterly. We don't have to pay up front that huge dollar amount, because we do have a get out clause in our contract should we want to get out of that contract.
So what was the implementation fee? Had we done it as presented to cap assets for everything? Was that still a 10,000 one
That's still the
time?
10,000, yes.
So
Yep.
by splitting it, we basically added another 4,200.
Correct.
And then, so really when we're approving this now, I mean, we're approving it at 56, but we know we're pre-approving in our next budgets because we're gonna need those modules in order for it to function. So, I mean, we should just all be clear what we're
Yes, it's a
what we're
3-year
approving
contract.
is, over the course of 3 years.
And by locking it in for 3 years, there will not be a rate increase until we renew. And if there is an 8% uplift after 3 years, standard for software like this is 3 to 5% annually. So we won't have an increase until year 4.
And then Pauline, can you explain, because I don't know exactly how it works, when we purchase something like this, is it true that year 1, because it's new, this can come out of second penny, and then after that, it's general, is that?
General fund dollars, yes.
So, because I'm just looking at, I mean, just to be clear, because other than the mayor and I, nobody was in cap assets. The discussion there was, you know, we had a lot of talk, because we already approved a pretty significant amount of money for the software, and then basically it was like, that software won't do everything we needed after looking at it, this is a better option, but so we were adding even more. What was the total that you asked for in cap assets? Do you
The
remember?
$56,020 is what's approved for the budget.
Right, but what was the
Right.
amount you came to cap assets with?
Oh, it was,
Additional
I was,
14,000.
yeah, additional
Additional
14,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's so, you know, I think what the direction of the cap assets group was to work with IT and do a little more homework, just to find out, it wasn't a no to the project, but it was just since we had some questions about how it would implement with the finance software, for instance. Do we have those answers? Do we know how it will integrate with?
It will integrate in year one, just like it does now, with timekeeping, will integrate.
So do we know when we add those modules? Because again, the reason and I know that it was contentious, so I'm not trying to make this
No.
difficult, but part of what I'm thinking is, I think we might actually be better to approve what you asked for if we're gonna do it, and save the extra $4,200 in additional implementation fees, and to be able to use second penny for all of it. So I'm not sure that we shouldn't go back to what you asked for. Because I feel like a little bit what we did here to make it work under budget is gonna cost us more, both in the extra implementation fee and by not being, having to take it out of general fund, so.
The fee for implementing, like an interface with Tyler Technologies, that would come from Tyler Technologies. UKG has everything ready to export. It would be importing that information, and how we do that with Tyler Technologies.
So if we don't have the answer yet on how it's gonna implement, because it's fine if year one, everything's gonna implement, but we're not gonna buy this now and pay the $10,000 implementation and spend 9 months learning it, and then next year find out, okay, now it doesn't implement, and we're gonna change again. That obviously wouldn't be fun for anybody, because that would mean that
No.
the money spent, but also a year of
Right.
time and
Right.
effort into it.
Right.
So I guess I still have the same concerns I had at capital assets, which is, before we approve this, are we sure, once we're done with all the modules, that it's actually gonna work with finance?
Is there a way to know that?
They say it will.
I mean,
Other than that, they say it will. Yankton uses UKG. They also use it for payroll though, but so they do a general ledger export import into their software that finance uses. Other cities have upgraded to Tyler Technologies 10 and use ExecuTime for timekeeping, payroll, and with 10 you do get the HR capabilities more than what we have with 9. Some of them still use, even though they're like Madison is on version 10, they use ExecuTime for timekeeping, but they use Applicant Pro for their human resource management and benefits onboarding.
But you guys had kind of said, talking to some of the cities that have gone to 10, that's not necessarily a great
It's not.
solution
and
either. That hasn't worked well.
It has
as
yes,
well.
it does, when we were first talking about it, both Pauline and I have been involved in meetings hearing, the same information from some of these cities, that it's a tough transition. There are a lot of bugs that need to be worked out. Even if it's decided to go to 10, it still would be a year or two out before that would even be able to be implemented.
And that, from what you had said, that still wouldn't be as good for the HR department. It wouldn't do all the things that this
Have all the
software
bells and
will
whistles.
do.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, I have a question, and I'm probably in the same level as Mayor Robish, but I'm just trying to read through and understand a little bit about it, but it would work hand in hand with your department, Pauline, with finance?
For
like
payroll
Payroll
purposes.
And currently, we don't have a system that does that?
We have
Or
a
we
time
do?
clock system, yes. We have a time clock that uploads into there for
Okay.
payroll. She's wanting for benefits and onboarding.
Okay.
That does not upload into
And
ours.
we
Yeah,
had
it's quite a
56,000?
procedure to go from
Yeah.
there to there.
Kind of bringing it to the future.
And it will save considerable, I mean,
Yeah.
considerable time
Yes.
for their, so there's no doubt that's good. It will reduce mistakes because they won't be hand entering as much. And it will save considerable staff time. So I mean, the idea of modernizing and getting new software, I think we all agree with is a good thing. I would say that at Capital Assets, we talked about this for quite a while, and the way we kind of, I thought my interpretation of it when we left was we were going to have the IT director do some more digging, check into it more, talk to some cities that maybe had, because we are gonna end up with two separate softwares. You know, we're not gonna get rid of the Tyler Technologies because finance uses that for all the utility billing and all of that. It would be great if there was one magical software that did everything, did all of what we want in the city billing side, and a software that did everything for integrating the new employee sign-on and carrying all that. Unfortunately, they don't, so that's where we're looking at paying for two big expensive pieces of software. We're gonna have this new one, and we're still gonna continue to pay for Tyler. So again, I would say I was surprised to see this come to the agenda, because I thought the way we left it was we needed to do a little bit more homework with the IT department to make sure that the integration was good. And I don't know that I love the idea of paying an extra $4,000 in implementation fees and having to pay for part of it out of the general fund just to bypass that. So, my personal opinion is what the capital assets, I think, said. I would like, the time sensitivity on this is it takes 8 to 9 months. And you want to have this ready to go by next year before open enrollment.
Correct.
And so, I think what we had said is if we looked into it until January, talked to some folks that maybe were using both of these softwares or did a little bit more homework, that would still give you the time to be ready by open enrollment, so.
Yes, with all due respect, Commissioner Bragg, the IT department and I have been doing that for the last 3 months.
I was just gonna add in there, after that meeting, I left early, so I'm not gonna say that I was there till the end, but after that meeting, I know the IT department and Shauna and Shannon have been working on this, well, as much as they could for this week, actually, and previous also, I get that, but probably more enhanced since that meeting. And so they have worked on that pretty extensively, and I guess, and I'm going to be the least knowledgeable here on this, but I think we all have to take a step back and say, sometime along the time frame, we're gonna have to go with our IT department and our HR and maybe our finance or whatever, if it goes in there, if they're all conjunction together, and if they can't, then that's not gonna happen. But if we're gonna put a time frame on, let's get a time frame so that we know when to come back with. And so I guess
Because my
Shauna
take
did
would
bring
be-
this to me, and Chad brought this to me, and Shannon brought this to me, and it's like, well, if you're very confident in what we need to do here with this and let's get it going. They were within that budget number that
Right.
they were instructed to take care of.
Sure, but I would say if that's the direction we're gonna go, let's understand what we're voting on.
Right.
Then I would rather go back to her initial request, pay just the $10,000 implementation, not pay the extra, and do it all out of the second penny funds. I don't know, I don't really understand the purpose of paying extra just to make it fit underneath. That budget number is arbitrary, that's just us anyway, right? That's just for us to vote on. So to pay extra just to beat our own budget number, I guess I don't understand. If we think it's a good deal, and, Chad, we could have you come up and say, is there any city anywhere that's using UKG for their HR and using Tyler for the utility billing?
Yankton is.
And have we talked to them about how they integrate?
Yes.
And they say everything integrates, Chad, you're satisfied with that stuff is gonna work?
There will be some things that we have to, you and Tyler, to get information in and out, but between the two companies, they know what they need to do, and we know what we need to do to help them get there with that.
There's gonna be nothing that we can buy that's just gonna seamlessly work, though. I mean, we're gonna have to do work either way.
Sure.
And if UKG says this is gonna work and Yankton it works for, then, and that's the program you think is best fit for the city, I agree that that's the way we should go. I would, to Rich's point, I would almost rather just pay for the overage and not have the second fee.
Right.
This will condense two of our systems. This will include timekeeping, which we will phase out towards the end of next year. So instead of 3 systems, we'll be down to 2 systems. We vetted 6 businesses, 6 companies that provide these services, and Tyler Technologies was one of them. And they have made improvements, I will say. When we were in that webinar, there were things, because we had checked into that a couple years ago, and there were some enhancements that they had made, but not with benefits enrollment,
Yeah,
to tie that all together. Not with version 9 anyway,
right.
so.
And as we said, we've got ample evidence that version 10 is not a great
Not
solution.
ideal right now.
Again,
No.
I'm all for updating our technology and being more efficient. I think we should be doing that in all of our departments. And, I appreciate all the work that's gone into it. I just am saying what I saw during the process was when we came for budget approval, we had a piece of software that was presented that it would do everything, and so we approved it. And then after a little bit more research, we found out that it wouldn't do the things we want. And so then we found better software, and we're still being told it should do everything we want. Before we sign a contract and commit to it, it was just a matter of, is Yankton the only city in the continental United States that is using both UKG or Tyler, or is there somebody
No, they're
that
just,
we could?
there's, Brittany from HR in Yankton is who I talked to, and we just have our own little group of HR people on this side of the river that we get together for meetings. Brookings uses ADP. Some still use Ease. There are some using Time Clock Plus like we are with, some of them have 2-3 different systems that they're using right now.
So, I haven't been part of necessarily a lot of this, but just so I'm clear on the contract, what I'm understanding then is if we paid for the 36-month contract in the beginning, all at once, we would not have the additional $4,292 implementation fee?
Correct. If we would implement all the modules that come with
And
the
we
package.
wouldn't have to pay for all 3 years. We'd just have to commit to all the modules up front, right? So we still wouldn't have to prepay for all 3 years, but we just.
No, and I have that set up, we can pay quarterly. Even if we add all those modules back in there, we would still pay quarterly next year because we're in that build phase
Okay.
and then implementation phase.
So the payment schedule wouldn't change, it's just the commitment of the contract, basically, in relation to what was budgeted.
Right, that's correct.
And so, under procedure, if we commit to a 3-year contract on this, we're committing to that for future budget purposes.
That was
Yeah.
my
Am
question.
I saying that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
Which I don't know if technically that's acceptable or not. I think it's frowned upon a little bit, but I'm with you, Rich. I'm not real crazy about taking a $42.92 on the chin just because we're, you know, we're up against this budget amount.
Well, and I can ask them for an annual contract. It's just that the pricing would be locked in.
Yeah,
for
you're
3
gonna
years
pay
without
for
a-
it
without an
anyway.
upcharge. Yeah.
Yeah, if you break it down to annual, probably pay more, actually.
Yeah, if they do a 3 or 4% increase.
You said we have a get out. What's the term of the get out? So to Commissioner Smith's point, if we approve this and after year one, again, hopefully we don't spend all that time and then find out it's not right, but.
60 days. 60 days. It was 90. I asked for 30. We settled at 60. 60-day written notice.
Okay. And so then at that point, we would just stop paying, so the implementation fee obviously wouldn't be returned, but any future expenditure
Yeah.
we'd be out of the contract. Okay.
Yep.
Are there any other penalties for cancellation?
It's about a 3% upfront cost, additional upfront cost.
And again, there is the
Plus the
budgeting.
fees within code.
I'm sorry?
If there's any other additional things for in code, there'd be additional fees
Right,
there too.
yeah.
But then we also can put more of it under second penny and have less of it come under the general fund obligation as well, if we
General
were
fund would be the
to.
full price next year,
Right.
or 2027.
So, I mean, if we're comfortable, this is definitely the way we want to go, and we've done all the research we're saying we need to do, then, you know, I would like to withdraw my motion to approve this, and I would make or amend my motion again, since I made it, I can do that. I'd like to amend my motion to do the additional 14,000 as initially proposed.
Ryan made the motion and Sean seconded.
Yeah, you didn't have anything to do with this,
Oh,
Bill.
I
You're just discussion.
Well, then I guess hopefully somebody else, I can offer a substitute motion, or I can offer up for someone else to amend their motion. I'll make a substitute motion that we approve it as the initial request of the capital assets was paying the one initiation fee, doing all the modules, and that was about an additional $14,000 over the budgeted amount.
14,948, I believe.
Yep.
That would be my substitute motion.
I'll second that.
All right, I see Aaron's still with us here, so how many yays and nays are we looking for here? Because we have a motion and a substitute motion.
Vote on the first one.
So, yeah, you would, with the substitute motion, you vote on the substitute first, and assuming you've had a second on the substitute, I don't remember if we had a substitute,
Yes.
second on the substitute.
Yes,
Okay, so you vote on the substitute first, and if it passes, that's the motion that passes.
oh, okay, thank you. I didn't know which way Robert wanted us to go on that, so. Okay. I
And
guess-
actually, since
Go
And
ahead.
since Commissioner Bragg made the original motion, he could have just withdrawn it instead of doing a substitute if he wanted to.
Apparently, I didn't make the motion.
Somebody else
That's-
did.
That's how I confuse things.
Feel like a gold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like who's on first?
Okay, I guess any other discussion? I guess I, just by listening to all this the other day and tonight and whatever, there's UKG, AKG, and ISP, and whatever, and all this, and whatever, and there's so many different companies that so many different people use, correct?
Yes.
So, Chad, are you comfortable with what we have?
I am.
Shauna, Shannon, are you comfortable with what we have? Pauline, are you comfortable with what we have? Can you work with what we have?
I don't know, we'll find out.
I get it, but what I'm saying is, it's great to get all that information from everybody else. It is. But what works for them may not work for us. What works for us, they might say, what are you guys doing? How does it work for you? And whatever. And so, I guess I'm gonna go with the people that use it. I could care less, except for pay the bills. I understand that, but we don't use it. We need to implement the people that use it. Your staff.
I don't know
Your
anything
staff.
about dump trucks either. and
Well,
we
I
have to
know.
vote on that.
And
So, I mean,
that's what I wish we were
have to
voting
do our
on.
due diligence here,
Right,
and that's why I
right.
know
Yes.
that, Shauna feels like she's been put through the ringer on this one, but it would be
But she
easy if we
was.
just said yes to everything, but we need to do our due diligence.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
understood.
And that's my question. So for next year's budget, it will be $14,948 more dollars than what's been budgeted? Is that
Yes.
correct or no?
Minus 10,000.
Yeah,
So
so that's
it's
what
only
we're voting on.
4,000, yeah.
That's what we're voting on.
Well, actually, it won't even be the 4,000, because that's an implementation.
When you say
That's
next year's,
implementing
which
from
next year are you?
Tyler
Well, the budget that
Technologies.
was already approved for 56,000, correct?
Yeah,
And for that year.
That year, right, but
Yeah.
then we're also
Right.
signing up
Committed
for
to
2
more
more
years,
years.
yes, I understand that.
Yep.
Yeah,
At
you're paying for
50-some
time clock again,
thousand
too.
for each of those years.
Yes.
yeah,
And that would be locked in.
right.
But-
So-
Do we typically do that? You had made a comment about that, Commissioner Smith. Do we budget years out like that, or?
Well,
Is-
we're not necessarily, we're indirectly committing to that.
Right.
But we have subscriptions on other things as
Similar
well.
to
Okay.
what
Yeah.
we've done, think about the golf cart rentals. We have
Yeah.
a contract with them for 5
Okay.
years.
Right.
Fee is subscription
Thanks for
based,
everyone
so
being patient with my numerous questions.
Any fees that we have in any technology, we're basically saying, we're gonna put them into the budget next year. I mean, otherwise, we're gonna throw them out the window and try something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And technically, if we have a 60-day notice to get out, I
Right.
mean, really, we're not, we're locking in the price for 3 years, but we're not technically obligated. I mean, we probably don't want to walk away from it, but
Yeah.
we could.
Okay.
So if next year's commission says they absolutely don't want to do it,
Great.
they wouldn't have to do it.
Well, I
Go back.
like to defer to those who understand it and work with it hand in hand with all the departments I'm with, so that's something, because it will impact finance, IT, and HR, all three, correct?
And there'll be some more too, but I mean,
The time system will affect all departments.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's learning a new system.
Okay.
Just so I'm clear on the vote, how you presented it, Commissioner Bragg, that would avoid the additional 4292 module cost.
And it would allow us to front load more of it under second penny.
Okay. And then, Shauna, do you know, and I hate to belabor this, but quite often when you do these, there's more module application fees that get thrown in there. Do you have any idea on that, or you and Chad aware of those?
As of right now, this would be everything that I would want for modules. If something comes up in 3 years and they have something bigger and better out there for a module, but no, this would encompass what we would want for HR.
And would there be hookup charges, if you will, on the payroll side?
That is through Tyler Technologies, and part of that $14,000 is for that
Okay.
integration to interface with.
That's what I was looking for, is
Yes,
integration
yes,
fees.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, after, it should be right around that 51,000 annually.
Okay.
After
And
year
Mayor,
one.
when you were going through your ask, Chad kind of started a sentence and then we moved down. Was there more you wanted to?
I don't even remember now.
Oh, sorry. I can't see him, I can. Any other questions before we call for the vote? Roll call vote.
Smith,
Aye.
Kloot,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Roberts.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for their input. And okay, we're gonna move on to 10.4, solid waste holiday hours.
All
Commissioner
righty,
Kloot.
well, here we are again. Thank you, Mayor. Solid Waste Department Rubble Site will be observing the following schedule for Christmas and New Year's: regular Thursday trash and recycle routes for Christmas Day and New Year's Day will be collected on Wednesday both weeks. Please have your cans out the night before. This week, solid waste will be closing at noon. They'll be open from 8 a.m. till noon. Thursday, Christmas Day, they will be closed. They will be open both Friday and Saturday this week, regular hours. New Year's week, Wednesday, December 31st, half day. Wednesday, December 31st, regular hours, 8 a.m. to 3:45. Thursday, New Year's Day, they will be closed. Friday and Saturday, January 2nd and 3rd, regular hours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And 10.5 city offices, the hours for the city offices, I'll let Pauline
Thanks,
fill us in
Mayor. The
on
city
that.
office will be closed for Christmas holiday on Wednesday, December 24th, Christmas Eve, at noon to 5, and then all day Christmas Day. We do reopen on Friday, the 26th at 8 a.m.,
Regular hours.
regular hours.
Okay. Thank you for the updates. And speaking of updates, we're going to turn over the rest of our time here to Commissioner Clute, our Utilities Commissioner, and she's going to give us a quick update of her departments.
Okay, well, thank you. The past months have been filled with great opportunities, allowing me to learn more about the inner workings of our city government. One of the many things I have discovered is how fortunate we are to have so many extremely dedicated employees. The departments to which I've been assigned are water, wastewater, solid waste, and the Huron Public Library. I'll give you a little update from this year on each of those departments. Huron Solid Waste Department is managed by Superintendent Dale Fortin. Each week, the solid waste staff provides residential solid waste recycling and yard waste collection, serving approximately 1,800 containers a day. They also support our local businesses by managing 260 commercial accounts every week. This year, the new transfer station was opened and it is now fully operational. The department works with customers to fine-tune service and assure the facility meets their needs. Along with that, the redesigned metal and rubble disposal area has been a major improvement as customers can pull up to the retaining wall, drop the material directly into the bins, eliminating the need to drive into muddy areas. The yard waste drop-off site is also getting upgrades this winter with a new automated system, and more detailed information will be shared when that is operational. In a concerted effort to encourage recycling in the city, putting plastic bottles in the containers they belong in, updated decals have been placed on all the recycling container lids in the city. These new decals include a QR code that takes you directly to the city's recycling webpage. It provides up-to-date information on what can and cannot be recycled, helping reduce contamination and making recycling easier for everyone. As a reminder, recycling containers are free and will be delivered to homeowners at their request. The recycling service is already included in the monthly billing, and it costs much less to dispose recycling than solid waste in terms of bagging and shipping to our sites. We will continue to educate and encourage our citizens to take part in recycling. Our solid waste facility is recognized as a very well-run and efficient operation within the state. Huron operates the third largest city-run composting site in South Dakota, producing high-quality compost that many residents use for their yards and gardens. Most recently, our solid waste department hosted the State Composting Conference, where state officials made numerous references to the state-of-the-art operation that Huron has in place. So real kudos to our solid waste department with the recognition they have across the state. I went to the State Solid Waste Conference, and that was also touted there, so they're doing a great job out there. The Water Wastewater Department is under the supervision of Rob Rieger. This has been a very busy year for this department as they worked with the DOT on the Dakota Avenue project. The department was responsible for lining 17 blocks of sewer while grouting 270 sewer services and replacing 2 lift stations. They also replaced 30 blocks of water main and are just finishing up the SCADA Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition Upgrade, which I learned all about that, which is the computer program that links the water plant, the wastewater plant, and all the lift stations together. That is crucial to the services that we often take for granted, like flushing our toilets and turning a faucet on for good, clean drinking water. And speaking of that, Huron recently received the Department of Ag and Natural Resources Secretary's Award for Drinking Water Excellence for the 24th year in a row. Isn't that something? This is a huge reflection on the work these employees do each and every day to make sure our water is safe. The department just completed the 5-year water wastewater rate study, which will go into effect January 1st. The department also monitors customer usage, helping to identify excessive water use while helping citizens with issues impacting overuse. And I was the recipient of one of those calls from the water department because my water usage was a little high. And we discovered a leaky toilet that was running longer than it needed to. So they help us in a lot of ways. They also continue to educate the community on our water conservation in the summer, helping us to be good stewards of our water supply. Our Huron Public Library is under the supervision of Angela Bailey. This year, she and her dedicated staff launched the Library of Things, expanded services with the Toy Lending Library of South Dakota, introduced a new volunteer recording studio, and hosted numerous events in partnership with local organizations. The summer reading program drew 421 participants and over 12,000 attendees, featuring the Huron Feed and Read initiative, which provided free snack bags for children 18 and under every Friday. Accessibility improved through a $20,000 grant that funded automatic restroom doors and an ADA-compliant drive-up book return, while outreach grew with a new book return and delivery site in Woolsey. The library also received a generous $100,000 gift from the Donald B. Urquhart Trust to support ongoing initiatives. And as the library board approved at the meeting last week, we named the new meeting room the Donald B. Urquhart Room. Additionally, the library celebrated the formation of the 501c3 Huron Library Foundation and worked with the foundation to host the Titanic Escape Room fundraiser this past week. Commissioner Bragg's family holds the record for getting to the lifeboat the quickest. It was so well received, they extended the event for another week. I highly encourage everyone to consider taking part in the many events and programs offered by our library. The library recently renewed its accreditation from the South Dakota State Library and completed several internal spaces updated to enhance public service. Here are just a few, I'm watching the clock, interesting statistics from 2025. 84,333 people have walked through the door. The circulation department had a count of 158,750 items being checked out. They provided 1,457 programs, and the attendance at those 1,457 programs was 36,618. Wow, right? A lot of great things. And all three of these departments have been very patient, educating me on all kinds of things at every one of those departments. It's been great. Very impressive.
Very impressive.
Their work is
Thank you,
amazing.
Commissioner Clute, for that update.
You're
And
welcome.
so that concludes our updates from all our departments, from all our commissioners. And I want to just remind the public, if you've listened and you forgot or whatever, but Commissioner Bragg is our Finance and Revenue Commissioner. Commissioner Smith is our Public Works Commissioner. Commissioner Clute is our Utilities Commissioner, and Commissioner Harvey is our Public Safety Commissioner. So if you have any questions, concerns, praises, whatever, they'll take them all. So, but they spend a lot of time in their departments, and they're very hands-on in their departments, and that helps with their department heads, and their department heads come back and relay their daily duties to them, and they're very, very involved. So you've got a very good group of commissioners sitting here that you've elected and put in these chairs, and they're taking their job very seriously, and they do a great job. And I want to personally thank each one of them for all the time they put in. So, concluding all the business for tonight, on behalf of the commission, I want to wish everyone a very, very Merry Christmas. Spend some time with your family, your friends, and Like Mr. Schnothorst reminded us Saturday night, Christmas holidays can be a downtime of year for some people too. It can be very lonely, it can be very depressing, and if you see that happening, just grab them by the hand and tell them Merry Christmas, and